So I've been practicing up recently for a couple of shows that I have coming up with a freshly signed artist out of Alberta. They're actually a country duo called Leaving Thomas. And they're coming to Ontario, and we have two big outdoor shows coming up. One is on Friday. It's a festival called Boots and Hearts, and there's another one, there's another outdoor thing that we're doing later in the month where we're opening up for another artist on the label. So on this show, I'm going to be running backing tracks. So I just thought it'd be cool, since I have everything set up, to show you guys my setup and then maybe just give you a little tutorial on how to set up your own simple backing track rig. And I'm going to show you two different setups. One is for situations where everybody on the stage is going to be on ears, which is this case here. And then the second thing I'm going to show you, the second example, will be for situations where there are wedges on the floor and you will be in the back. Maybe with a wedge, maybe not, you'll have that option. But just for, smaller venues, smaller indoor venues, clubs, whatever, where you want to run your own backing tracks. So instead of just pointing the camera at my setup and showing you how everything is connected and explaining it to you that way, I decided it might be better to just hook everything up right in front of you so you know exactly where the cables are going in each different example. And you'll get a better idea of what cables to buy. I'm going to show you what cables I'm using, which cables to pick up, and exactly how to plug them in to get your setup happening. Now, running backing tracks these days from the drum chair is dead simple, man. Like your setup is really easy, and you can carry it in just like a little case, and it only takes a couple of seconds to hook up. So let me show you the components that I got here, and then I'll show you the cables, and then I'll start hooking it up in front of you. All right, so let me show you my dead simple backing track setup that I got going on here. There's only 4 components to it. I got my iPad here, which is of course running the tracks. We have a little sub mixer here. This is a Behringer Xenix 802. Behringer, in my opinion, man, best little mixers on the market. They're super affordable. They're great. They're clean. And yeah, so I have a little sub mixer here, and I have a DI box. This is a dual DI box, which I recommend that you get just for flexibility. They're not that much more than a single channel, but yeah, dual DI box, and then also a set of ears. All right, let me show you what I got going on here for cables. First of all, I got one of these. This is a stereo mini to 2 1/4-inch mono jacks. All right, so it's a splitter cable. I spent a little bit of extra dough on these because I wanted a really good quality cable for this setup. Because I mean, when you're dealing with really good, very expensive sound systems, you know what I mean? You don't want any weak links in there. So I just think it's worth it to, seek out the best cable that you can get for what it is you want to use. And I also have 2 of these. These are just really good quality guitar instrument cables. They're just 1-footers. They don't have to be any longer than this, and I'll show you why in a second. But yeah, make sure that they're a really good quality guitar instrument cable. And then of course I have one of these, just a basic stereo mini to 1/4-inch adapter for your ears. All right, so let's start to hook this thing up. We'll start with the iPad, and I'll first let you know what I'm using to run my tracks. There's a bunch of different apps available now for running backing tracks. A lot of them are well worth the money. And what I'm using, I think, is one of the best ones available. This is called SoundQ, and SoundQ is just super easy to use. You can fit a whole bunch of songs on there. I have 5 pages that I can use for setups. You can rearrange your songs if you need to, and I like how it links directly to Dropbox, so you can import songs for your set list like super easy and just organize them on here. And it's great. So check that out. If you don't know about it, go over to the App Store and check out SoundCube. A couple other tips when you're using an iPad for backing tracks. There's a couple of little things that you want to remember to do. I like to lock the rotation just so that it doesn't flip around to landscape mode in the middle of a set. That would be super annoying. The other thing that I like to do, you know how you can set the screen to shut off automatically after a certain number of minutes. Make sure you set that to never, because you do not want this thing shutting off on you. You don't want the screen to go dark on you in the middle of a set, because you just, you got to fiddle around with it and, get the screen back and stuff. So make sure before you get on stage, set that screen to shut off never. All right, so first we're going to take our splitter cable and we're going to hook one end, of course, into there. And I have these labeled. I know where the left side is. Left side is click, right side is track. That just seems to be the standard. That's how everybody does it. Because when you get the tracks sent to you, that's how they're going to be set up. So the click is going to be panned all the way to the left, and the track is going to be panned all the way to the right. So all I'm going to do is take the other ends now. I have my DI box labeled, click, and track. Now, from here, typically what happens is these two get sent to the front of house in separate channels. That's the whole point of separating them. And then the sound guy will feed you whatever you want to hear. I'm kind of a control freak, so I like to have as much control as I can when I'm sitting behind there, because there's nothing worse and more annoying than trying to get a hold of a sound guy to give you more of this and less of this or whatever, right? It's better to have it right beside you to have full control over your own volume. That's what these cables are for. Now on your DI box, beside your regular input, there's also a through input. And your through input, what that does is it allows you to send that same signal to another source. So what I'm going to do is take, for each channel, I'm going to go into the through, and then I'm going to go from there, from the DI box, back in to one of my channels on the mixer. Do that with the other one. All right, so now I have control over my own volume for the click and for the track. And it's much more flexible now for me on stage. Like I don't have to try to get anybody's attention if I want more of this and less of this. I have my own volume here. And the monitor guy is also able to send the click and the track to anyone else on the stage who wants to hear it. And then from there, of course, you just pan your click all the way to the left, your track all the way to the right, and you're good to go. So, question now is, how are you going to hear everybody else on the stage? If everyone's on ears and there's no wedges, how are you going to hear them? That's real simple. All you have to do is ask your sound guy for a monitor feed, and he's going to plug it in right here into one of these XLR inputs, and this will take the place of the wedge that would normally sit beside you on the floor. So he's just going to take that line, instead of sticking it into a wedge, he's going to stick it into one of the channels on your mixer. So now you have a lot of good control. You have your monitor feed over here, you have your click volume, you have your track volume, you're good to go. So let's just recap that super simple setup there. We're going to go from the iPad straight to the DI box, and then from the DI box to the mixer using your instrument cables and the through jacks on the DI. Right, so this next example is for indoor situations. There's wedges on the floor, and basically you're the only one that needs to hear the click. For this, setup is just as simple. So all we're going to do is take our splitter cable. We're going to go from the iPad, and instead of going into the DI box, we're going to go into the mixer. So the cables are labeled. Click is on the left, track is on the right, and then we just pan them, one hard left and one hard right, into 2 channels on your mixer. From here, we take one of our instrument cables, and we're going to use the effects send, like that, to send the track to the front of house. On this mixer here, as you can see, I have, each channel has an effects send. This is what you're going to use to send the track to the DI, which will go to the front of house. And all you got to do is turn that up. Turn up the effects send, and now you'll be able to send the track out to the front of house. Make sure that the effects send on the click is all the way down, because you don't want to send that out. You want to be the only one to hear that. So just keep the, make sure the effects send is all the way down on your click, and that you turn it up on your track. And then from there, you just got to mess around with your levels and make sure everything's cool. And you, of course, you have that option again. I suggest just going to the sound guy and saying, hey man, I have a mixer here, I have my own ears. Can I have a monitor feed? Instead of using the wedge, can I just go into one of the channels on my mixer? So that's it, man. I mean, it's pretty simple, right? So you can keep that in mind now if you want to set up your own little backing track system. Again, it's way easier to do these days. It's a very sort of streamlined, lightweight setup. I suggest getting a dual channel DI box just for situations where there might be other members of the band that want to hear the click as well as the track. You know, you want to be flexible. You want to make sure you have the option. You don't want to be that guy that says, I don't think I can do that. You know what I mean? Like if somebody asks me for something, I want to make sure I'm prepared and that I'm able to do it. Keep it professional. Use good gear. Use good cables. And yeah, you'll be a pleasure to work with. Drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys are using for your own little backing track setups. If you have any questions, also, you can leave it in the comment section. I'm not a professional sound guy at all. Like I said, I had to consult a friend of mine when I put this rig together just to make sure everything was cool. There are more than one ways to do everything. You know what I mean? I'm not saying this is the only way to make this happen, but it works. It's simple and it works, and there's not a whole lot of spaghetti to carry around. The hookups are really simple. So yeah, man, hope that helps. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. See you next video.